in the heart of sub-Saharan Africa, where commerce meets progress. Welcome to SOUQ News, your source for business, economy, and development insight that drive nations forward. From the vibrant streets of Lagos, Africa's fastest economic hub, SOUQ News takes you on a journey of discovery, analyzing and reporting the facts that lay the foundation for growth and development. We don't just report the news, we create it. SOUQ News is more than a channel. It is a catalyst for change, spotlighting the stories that shape economies, inspire entrepreneurs, and fuel progress. Covering business, finance, technology, energy, and many more, SOUQ News provides a daily deep dive into the stories that matter, interviews with industry titans, and analysis that empowers your understanding of economic landscape. Join us daily as we dissect, discuss, and deliver the most relevant and factual news on business and the economy. SOUQ News is your trusted guide, empowering you with the knowledge to make informed decisions.
Hello and welcome to SOUQ PULSE. Sincere apologies for starting 15 minutes late. It's not in our culture and it won't happen again. We want to say thank you very much for always being there, staying tuned and being part of this production. It's SOUQ News. We are all about positive programming. We spoke at length in the last 1 month and we've dwelt a lot on productivity as it concerns Africa, productivity as it concerns what we get to emulate from policies in Asia and what is happening in the West and in some other multilateral organizations. How can it make Africa more productive? During this discourse over this period of time, something kept staring us in the face, and that is what we'll be talking about today. We've lost some time, so hey, we'll dive straight into it. We're looking at education and identity. So a few days back, our guest and I, we were looking and talking about why and how are we so dependent on products not made in Africa. Our dress, our food, our sense of acceptability, what we brag about, what we look forward to, our ideals and values that are not ours. And our guest tried to educate us on particular issues that a whole lot of them were strange at some point, and for some, we could not agree because of the difference in eras. Yes, because our ancestors came into being in that discourse. And today we are going straight into it. We're looking at education and identity. How can we rejig our curriculum, Africa curriculum, to fit our peculiarities, to tell us who we are, to really define who we are? Because if you don't know who you are, you will just remain confused. My name is Chuks, John-Rogers Chuks, and I'm still very pleased to have our very own Dr. Idahosa. Good afternoon, sir.
Chuks, good afternoon. Pleasure to be here this afternoon.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All thanks to SOUQ News.
Thank you very much. It's our pleasure to have you. To the technical guys that have been battling to make sure we come back on, I want to say thank you. Yes, we'll go straight to it. Yes, normally we'll start the question with our topic. Education and identity. Can we identify an African at the end of his education, majorly from this curriculum that we have? Can we identify, okay, this is an African?
Yeah, but you see, it's unfortunate that the entire world is playing politics of identity, and the African has himself not been able to plug into that space to participate, really defining who they are. And I think that's really not been healthy. And again, that speaks to the weakness of our culture, as it were. And
is it weakness of the culture or weakness of the people?
I think, no. I think it's the weakness of the culture.
The culture was there before the people.
Yes, the people
So
are
it's the
supposed
people that are weak, not the culture.
to transmit. You know, the issue is not the people really. It's the weakness of the culture. See, when the way you do certain things tend to be inferior to other people's way of doing it.
But who told you that is inferior?
Yeah, but that's the point I'm trying to make, and that's comparison that I'm going to make. I was listening to a member of parliament in Singapore and talking about value and gave value, and he said, look, this is Singapore. It doesn't matter what they are saying in the West. You can't come in here and we don't want it and we can't accept it. And that is because...
Strong will of a people.
Yeah, you see...
That was pushed by a few.
Yeah, but you see, this is the same thing we're talking about, because you see, colonialism didn't come only to Africa. Colonialism went into India. It could not break down their culture because the culture was very strong. So that's why you see, you go to India today, they're still doing their own things. Their rituals, everything, they didn't accept it.
Can we look at it from this part? The culture of India, they are not as diverse as we are.
You see, let me give you a very typical example. When you look at the value system here and compare it with what you have maybe in the West, you see, when something strange happens, some people want to find out why it had to happen. But when you come to Africa, we leave it to fate.
Whose fate?
Not fate as in F-A-I-T-H, fate as F-A-T-E. In other words, this is beyond our power. And so we just allow nature to have its way. And this is why things we could not explain.
Is that part of our culture?
Yeah, but it is. Because things we could not explain, we started to worship as God. This is a problem. So there's no any deliberate attempt to find explanation to certain things. And that seems to be weak. And that's why when this other guy's culture came to interact with us, the things that we are taught we hold dearly as value, they demystify them.
Okay. What if, okay, let's look at it from this angle. In Nigeria alone, there are well over 1,000 languages compared to India.
Yes.
They don't have the amount of languages or different ethnicities like we do have here in Nigeria. Don't you think that was a problem?
No, I don't think so. Take, for example, the value of twins killing in the Calabari. Mary says, okay, but to them, that's not it will happen. Leave this child and let them live. And nothing happened.
Whose history was that?
Well, whichever history it is.
This where we are also going to go. Whose history was that?
Well, it is both side history.
Can I ask a question?
Okay.
Did Mungo Park discover River Niger?
No, he did not.
Good.
And
but that is what every child is taught from.
And he didn't say he discovered it. You see,
he didn't what?
He didn't discover River Niger.
Who put it in the book that he discovered River Niger?
He didn't discover River Niger. Yeah, but you see, the point is this. I have in my village, for example.
Can I ask another question?
No. Before you ask
London Bridge still falling down?
In my village, for example, they have what they call an evil forest.
Okay.
Which is assumed that if anybody enter into the evil forest, he will die. And when the white people came around and they were looking for space to build churches, they gave them evil forest. And they were thinking that these people were going to die. They cleared the bush, built their churches.
Hold on. Now, we also have that kind of forest in my place. But we never for once said whoever enters there is going to die. That is not the belief where me I come from.
So what do you believe?
That particular forest. Now, this is where the issue is. If you commit a crime in my place, let's say you go and steal and you die, they don't bury you in the ground. That is where you go to.
Yeah. So what is in that forest?
The bodies of those that the village said no to, and firewood to cook.
So who go to plug the firewood?
Of course, as well, as I can still remember very well when I was when I was still a little boy, we go there to go and fetch firewood.
Now this is a problem.
And for hunters, that is where they go and catch animals.
Now this is a weakness of that culture. to say that
which of the cultures?
the one you are talking about now from your own village.
That was not a
that
weakness.
the thing that we have used to plant cassava.
No, we had more than enough land for farming.
Not more than enough.
No, where I come from, we had more than enough land for farming.
No.
And we make sure that forest, okay, hold on. Both the entire world is now looking for forests and telling you to stop cutting down trees. Now, if we decided to keep our evil forests, will we be looking for tax to pay for carbon emission?
But this is the issue because we were worshipping trees,
let's come back.
Worshipping water, worshipping stone, because we could not explain them. This is the problem. Because we're talking education.
Let's come back now. Now, if we keep this direction, we will veer very far. And you are very close to the ancestors. So let's come back. Now we are looking at education. We get to see an African right from nursery. The parents have to do some white-collar jobs or looking for extra time. They push a child that barely can talk, barely can communicate, which is not normal. I'm speaking from experience. It's not normal. Now, the child starts there. With time, most of the children, majorly for those in cities, they lose the ability to speak their mother tongues. They speak the lingua franca that is spoken either within those school walls or majorly around where they are. That is another loss.
Yeah, like I saw trending on the internet just now, and one of the aspirants in Edo State next election hired an interpreter to go talk to his village people.
Which of his village people?
The people at home, because
where
now he wants their
he's
vote.
from?
His original route.
Okay, then what did they tell him?
So the interpreter is speaking on his behalf.
Okay, so aspirant, you can go after 4 years when you learn your mother tongue, you get back.
I come back to contest.
Of course, yes. We will vote for you, but after 4 years, you get back. But this is where we're looking at it. If we say we are depending too much on importation, majorly because, like you said the last time, we have lost a whole lot of our values. We've left who we are and adopted someone else's culture. So we leave that culture. Now, how is our education system going to help?
We don't even have an education system as we speak.
Okay, good. So how should we start rejigging it?
If you have one, you can be talking about rejigging. The current education system in Africa, as we have it now, is not designed to benefit and profit Africa. It's only designed to benefit and profit the other people. And if Africa will arise someday, we will have to evolve our own local way of socializing, or the socialization, transferring values from one person to another. This is what we have. The people we talk about and call technocrats today. Somebody like Patrice Lumumba said, you do a full course here, 4 years, university professor had taught you, and then you are now proud to say you are a Harvard alumnus because you went for a 1 week course. That's how bad we are. And you are seeing people who are parading these Harvard alumnus for 1 week of drinking tea and coffee.
Now, this is, he went to Harvard.
Yes, they call him went to Harvard. But at least he drank coffee and tea and came back. Okay. Now, you see, this is issue because the African man is so inferior to himself that he cannot even believe in himself. And the standard by which he measures himself is the standard set by another man. This is the weakness that I'm speaking to in our culture.
Okay. Now, let's go back to, you said we don't even have a curriculum in the first place.
Not in the place.
Okay, but the one we're using now or the one we borrowed is nowhere.
Yeah, but because
where
education...
where should we start?
Education...
Where should we start?
Education is actually imparting some values into you to solve the problem in your climate, in your environment. So you design the curriculum to solve the problem you are facing.
Okay.
Now, you see a situation where we develop a system. In short, as I was walking into the studio just now, you know, something was working in my head, and I was thinking of an article that I need to do, the moral dilemma of democracy. Where you are having to borrow somebody else's idea, and you are thinking that it will fit into your problems. This is the African trouble. We need original people who can think and throw away the boss. This time we don't even need to think outside of the boss. We don't even need the boss in the first place, because what is in the boss will kill us. So we need to throw away that boss and now have to reconceptualize what we want to learn. What is the problem? We want to drive cars. We have to allow our children to be able to envision some certain things. Not to say that if I'm going to write a thesis and therefore because it does not matches what the man in Oxford is saying or what the man in Harvard is saying, and therefore I have not. Look at it. Even in terms of referencing your article, you use Chicago style, you use MPA. What is all this nonsense about? Because we are writing for them. We're not writing for ourselves. And until we develop a curriculum that will solve our problem, the local things around us, that will help us to master these things around us, we go nowhere.
Now, see, I had to wait for you to impact this knowledge, but you still have not hit the nail on the head. If the curriculum we have right now is not it, and we can't even tinker or rejig the one we have, where do we start? What can we do? We are going on a break very soon. What can we do?
Yeah, this is what we need. Maybe an education summit, where we need to sit down around table.
This education summit, must it be everybody? Can't we localize this education summit?
That's what I'm saying.
Everybody's problems are different.
No. You see, we need to sit down and tell ourselves some very basic truths. And those in the academia, those in the industries, come together to say, what's our problem? What kind of solution do we want to find to this problem? I've told this story before. Japanese eat rice a lot. And people in Japan are thinking, how do we make the cooking of rice very simple? Panasonic, Ericsson, Sony, all of them went into to do a study. It took Toshiba 5 years to be able to come out with an automatic rice cooker between 1951 and 1956. So this is people finding solution to their local problem.
Okay. Then you also know that some solutions are already in our localities, in our cultures.
Oh, yes.
And we keep abandoning them and looking for solutions from outside this place. Okay. We will open up and tell you more about this after this break. But hey, don't go anywhere.
My name is Veronica Nkechi Eze.
Charles Abana.
My name is Professor Martins Emeje.
Professor Sylvester Odion Akaine.
Keep
Watching SOUQ
News TV.
The best news channel online.
It's elevating, it's enlightening, it's educating.
Muhammad Ali found this route in Africa. Rumble in the jungle. I swear the king is humble. Jesse Jackson, O.J. Simpson, this is black history. Andrew Young visit Africa in the late 60s. Legend, Bob Marley make the life different. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X are big names. They fought for black Americans in the old days. We need same revolution in our own ways. Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, Mr. Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre and Eddie Murphy. American prosperity ain't complete with African poverty. It's legendary Idris Abdul Karim, and you are on to SOUQ News. You don't.
Welcome back. We're still here live on SOUQ Pulse. We are looking at education and identity. How can we tinker? How can we rejig the curriculum we have to really fit our peculiarities. Doctor has completely thrown this curriculum. We have both the curriculum and the bus, and whoever wants to rejig it, he threw it out. And I'm just wondering, you mean I spent all these years from primary school? Are you trying to okay, let's not go there.
But we are talking about it. You can imagine that somebody spent 6 years in the primary school, 6 years in the secondary school, that's 12 years. Spent 5 years in the university, 17 years. Study engineering, from physics, chemistry, all through, integrated science, all through to university, graduates. Then go back to go and do 2 years masters. Go back to go and do 3 or 4 years of PhD. And yet this person cannot fabricate. He's a mechanical engineer, but he cannot fabricate just a nail. What kind of education is that?
Okay, that's waste of resources and waste of man hour. And okay, let's bring this home. Now we have.
And whereas in Benin,
which of the Benin?
Where I came from,
okay,
and proudly Benin, we had locals who were fabricating equipments, even for catching rabbit and all of that. They were fabricating it. They didn't go to any school.
They went to a school, but not a formal kind of school.
Yeah, but yes. You see, that is the kind of things that Africans need to begin to reinvent and formalize that training system, where you transmit the values of society, the knowledge base of society, from one generation to another. That's what education means. So our own knowledge in medicine, our own knowledge in engineering, our own knowledge in public administration, the town hall meetings, where we sit down around table and organize ourselves, and decisions are taken and they are binding on society. This is what we need to study and transmit from one generation to another. And as we perpetuate that system, you will see that successive generation will begin to add value to it. Okay. And then it will begin to fit to the needs of the new generation.
Okay. Right now, we have communities. I'm going to refer to schools as communities. I won't just say enclosures or buildings. We have communities where young people get together, and it is said that information, knowledge is passed across, be it from the primary down to the tertiary institutions. Now, for these particular communities that we have and are functioning, because people pay fees, spend time, spend man hour, how can we start getting these particular communities to start imbibing who we are, the essence of being an African, and teaching it to the young people that get into this place, and not just looking at graduating people and offering them a certificate?
Yeah, but because the school itself is altering your identity. You remember when you were going to defend your project in school, what did they ask you to do? Wear suit and tie.
Yes.
Yeah.
And submit some copies that they later use in selling.
And then, of course, for you to be valid about your thinking, you have to make reference to some of the stupid things that they have taught or they have said in their culture that are no longer relevant. And until you do those recommendations or those things, any other thing that comes from your head is stupid. So how do you get an identity?
Because the lecturer thinks that...
Yeah, that is the only way. So you go and look at it, all your chemistry texts, all your this thing, apart from the one we are photocopying, you will see that the authors are actually from the West. And so if you don't cite the authors, no matter what level of thinking or brilliance that you think you are, is consigned to the waste bin of history. So this is where...
But have you also come to think of it that this crop of lecturers, this crop of people that are also passing across this, in quotes, knowledge, also are part of this system? They have also been, I won't say brainwashed, this is the same thing hand that they were dealt with. So they are not trying to pass something that is alien to them. That is what they were dealt with.
Yeah, but see what we have to grapple with.
So if
now.
somebody has to make a change, we have to start the change with who would need to make the
Yeah,
change.
but this is the thing we have to grapple with now. As we speak, almost every Nigerian who is average have their children in Canada, America, London. Some are even in Benin Republic, some are in Ghana. So what you see here is the fact that we don't even believe ourselves. That's a fundamental. So you have no identity. If you were talking about identity, you are saying that, look, there's something that is unique about me that I cannot give out. And that's what the West will not do. So our children, we only think that they are wise or reasonable until they come from Harvard or from Yale. But let's also look at it and be as pragmatic as possible. Look at all the solutions that they have offered to our problems. We may call them technocrat by whatever name you call them, but they have not found solution. You see the chase of degree, PhD this, PhD that. But it doesn't solve the local issues. Okay. Because the truth of the matter is that the education they have is not designed to solve the African problem. The education is designed to solve the problem that is in the West. So if we must have to start, we must begin to see ourselves and sit down, like China had done some years back, to sit down and ask themselves, what do we really want? And they say, well, a new China or Chinese is possible.
Okay.
And the Mao Zedong led that revolution, and of course, a new Chinese was born. And I think that's possible. Okay. In Africa.
Let's break it down a bit. There was this video that, I don't know if you've seen it, there was this video that was circulating about Burkina Faso. Should I call them an administration or the military regime in Burkina Faso? The young man leading the military regime. The video showed him, he was in a primary school. Children, and he was talking to them. And this was majorly one of the things he was talking. What the kind of curriculum that has been imposed on them for a long time.
Yes.
And that their wish and interest to change that kind of curriculum. And he made reference to several things that were within the curriculum that they've taught them over time that happens that are false. And he kept making reference. Agriculture-wise, things that they said they could not grow in Burkina Faso, and the country has come to accept it. But that they've tried it, and they decided that it's not true. Yes. He talked about the mining industry that some other countries are coming to benefit, yet they don't have courses of mining in their own place. No. Then he talked about the cocoa and the chocolate, that they tell them they can't produce it here. They can only farm the seeds here. But yet, they have a company right now that is doing all that. So if we can start looking at, we might not come as a group. That would be a bit difficult. Is it not possible to start localizing it? Give an example. Between Benue in Nigeria and Ebonyi, they farm a whole lot of yam. And as I speak with you, there is no technology that can preserve yam as good as the year-old barn that they still use, and they've bettered it over time. And the yams will stay there for one good year to the next farming season.
Yeah, but we have lost all of that. You see, because again,
can we start?
Yeah, but this is the real issue, because somebody brought the idea of fertilizer and how to mix salt to do fertilizer, and we have accepted it hook, line, and sinker. Whereas earlier before, what were we doing? We were doing, of course, bush fallow system. So you farm a while and you move to another place and allow that one, of course, to generate, its own natural manure by the leaves that are falling on the ground. And then, of course, you come. But yeah, they give us one straight jacket fertilizer, NPKK. That's all we are selling. Now, when you go to the land, you are supposed to check the acidity or the alkalinity in the land before determining the kind of fertilizer that you are going to use. Now they ship more form of fertilizer to you, help your yam to grow. Now if you are shipping it from here to Ghana, if it 2-3 days inside the container, the yam is spoiled. This is the dilemma, because they don't even condition you to have access to their market. And your people who are there really need this yam to eat. And they are tasty of the yam because they don't have sometimes the means coming back home. And they would have loved to go to an African kitchen, wherever they are, eat this yam. But they can't find it because it has been conditioned from home. These are the things that we must be finding solution to.
Not is it solutions to, or we should start teaching them in these schools of ours?
Yeah, but you see, you don't teach, how am I going to put it now? Trial and error. You see, what research does is that you have a finding. And once you have discovered this, and everybody sees that this is actually working, then this knowledge is transmitted.
Who is everybody in this case?
No. See, it's simple. If I say I have a bomb.
What will work for location A might not work for location B.
No, that's not the problem. I'm not talking about a universal acceptance. It's to see that, you have a pragmatic solution to a problem. Take, for example, we are talking about electricity. And somebody is going to think without the boss. And leave the thermal, leave the wind, leave the water, and creatively think another solution to electricity. All of us will be able to see that this thing is giving light.
Okay.
So when we see that this thing is...
You are talking technology.
Yes. So when we see this is giving light, then this man is empowered to teach and transmit
that knowledge.
That knowledge of how we came about this giving light to other people. Okay. Now, those people that are receiving it now are duty bound to do further
research,
search on these things,
and better it,
and make it better. And so, from generation to generation, this becomes better and better by the day.
Okay, let's bring this back home, because I need us to really dwell on. Our time is almost running out. I need us to dwell on our ability to educate the next generation, educate them as Africans, educate them on what has worked here over time. Not living what has worked here, and after a while we lose those knowledge and we now start depending on outside Africa for solutions. Typical example, our medicine, agricultural practices here. Why should somebody in Sokoto be worried about planting palm oil, palm nut, when we know that cannot work there? His damina is good enough for him. Why should somebody in the east, let's say in Rivers, be thinking of planting brown beans? When we know it can't work there.
Yeah, but you see, so this is
peculiarities within our locations.
Even inside the peculiarities. And this is what the Israelis have done effectively well. That even plants that naturally were seen not to be good in the soil of in that Palestine region, that they have actually succeeded through technology to succeed in planting those plants there, and they are
not via normal soil.
Yeah, but these are technological issues, and these are things we should explore. And I was saying that day, I was telling somebody that day, I read an article recently where Bill Gates is saying that the next project, or the phase of a project before he dies, is how to produce palm oil without palm kernel.
Okay. We wish him the best. Let's stay on this side. Now, there has been this call that entrepreneurship courses should start at secondary school levels. Do you support that?
You see, this is again is a function of semantic, because we know they don't work. It's not just enough to...
We had technical colleges in secondary school.
At that time?
Yes.
And actually those colleges, you have people who were actually technicians, who know how to repair bicycle, who know how to repair generator, were actually...
Those were entrepreneurship courses.
Yeah, I agree with you. But you have people who knew it, and they could pass it on.
So
I was telling
why did we leave it?
Yeah, but
why?
this is because we have left our curriculum. I was telling somebody recently, growing up as a child, my father was a farmer, and he initiated us to farming. And how did he do it? He simply gave us some seed yams. He has a major farm, but the edge of the farm, he gives us seed yam to go and plant. And at the end of the year, he harvests the seed yam and helps us and say, okay, this roll of yam is your own. And he marks it and puts your name on it. And when the thing was becoming bigger, he empowered us to even go and sell them and make money for yourself. That's how I learned farming. And that was straight from my father. And when I was growing up as a home, because of the way he had taught us, anybody who wants to do farm, if he has not called us to come and work in their farm, the person is not a serious farmer in my locality at that time. You see, because there was a transfer of knowledge from him to us. That's the way entrepreneurship is done. You see the kind of what the Igbo society in Nigeria, they're doing. They bring somebody from the village and bring him to a shop, hands-on, to do these things, and then he get it done. Look at the deception we are doing to ourselves in terms of internship in Nigerian university system, where the school give paper to children who are studying a course to go and look for where to do internship. And there's no any arrangement between the town and the gang to ensure that what that child is actually doing on internship is going to add value to his learning. And so you separate that child from academy for 3 months in some cases, 6 months in some cases, 1 year in some cases, wasting away time, and then you bring him back to school and you start curriculum where you start. So this is the sonus within the system. Because those who are doing this thing, they don't even understand in the first place that if, for example, somebody is studying electrical engineering, you are supposed to send this person to an electrical firm where he's going to learn hands-on how this thing is produced. And when they are going to write a project, they are not just going to be writing a project in school. They are sent back to the same factory to develop a model and see how whether that factory can build it. That's what they are doing in Germany. That's what they are doing in China. That's what they are doing in Japan. So we cannot be thinking of an educational system that is not designed to solve a problem, but rather than giving a stupid piece of paper in the hand of a child to be walking the streets and looking for a job.
Okay. Now we have a serious case in our hands because we've not even scratched this at all. And we are still looking for the African in this student of ours, from primary down to tertiary and graduating. And all we are seeing is people carrying certificates and they can't solve problems in their locality.
Yeah.
We are having higher institutions in almost every state in Nigeria and almost every region in other African countries. And yet we still have endemic problems in those particular places. Then the question now begs us of what use are those institutions to those particular places. Before the advent of big universities, we had madrasas in the Arabic, in Mali, let me not go too far. Here in Mali, we had in Egypt, we had in Sudan, and most of them, a lot of them were training doctors for that particular locality. And people were moving from other countries to those places and were getting help. Now we have a lot of universities and we still have issues, serious endemic issues. Where we are rounding up right now, at what point in time can we say that our institutions of higher learning should be a problem solver, even if it's not policy-wise, to their localities?
Well, I feel that the real challenge that faces us, if we have to be very honest with ourselves, is this prebenda politics, where people design a system to favor only them. I was telling somebody yesterday, and he said, oh, if you look at the way results come out in our schools, you discover that the real best students don't get the best grade. Whether it's in the primary, whether it's in the secondary, whether it's in the university. I have done all my education here in Nigeria, and I can prove that. Even the worst students sometimes get the best grade. Sometimes because they run errands for lecturers and their scripts are not marked. And sometimes the lecturers are too overburdened. Teaching undergraduate, teaching postgraduate, supervising PhD, doing what they call it, external examiner work elsewhere, teaching in private university, and then they bring the script of the student and they don't even mark it. And then they give grade, and you see people having first class without brain. That's where we are.
So we should just forget problem-solving education?
Yeah, but you see, I feel that what we can really do is, we don't know when that benevolent dictator can come on stage who can clean up the system and take out all the rot. Now, the even biggest challenge which the educational system faces in Nigeria is this agency practice that you call unionism in our school system.
Okay.
That even the government has no control over the school.
We're not going there today.
We need to go there because it's part of the problem. It's part of the problem. Whether it's SOUQ, whether it's SOUQ, whatever I call them by their name, these people have ganged themselves up so strong that they blackmail the system, they blackmail everybody who speak against them, they are perpetrating things that are not right within the system, sorting and sleeping is happening within the system, they don't deal with it, all they tell you is that the education is not funded. This is a problem, because if you have such a union that is so strong to bring a government down, how can you now begin to think of reforming that system? This is where we need to actually speak out the issues, because we know what these issues are and we must address them. And if you have a union, everywhere you go, whether it's in the motor park, there's a strong union. If you go to the market, there are strong union. This unionism will not allow innovation, they cannot allow creativity. And as long as we allow these people to stay and begin to dictate how we run things, we go nowhere.
Okay. We want to say thank you for staying on that side and just being our guest. This is something we can't exhaust on a particular hour. So we'll get to tell you next when we're talking about this. But remember, as we always say on SOUQ Pulse, we can't stop talking. And same goes to you on this other side. I want to say thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Dawosa.
Pleasure to be on your show today.
We get to see you again and talk to you, and SOUQ Pulse will be back tomorrow. My name is Chuks, John-Rogers Chuks. Bye.
The heart of sub-Saharan Africa, where commerce meets progress. Welcome to SOUQ News, your source for business, economy, and development insight that drive nations forward. From the vibrant streets of Lagos, Africa's fastest economic hub, SOUQ News takes you on a journey of discovery, analyzing and reporting the facts that lay the foundation for growth and development. We don't just report the news, we create it. SOUQ News is more than a channel. It is a catalyst for change, spotlighting the stories that shape economies, inspire entrepreneurs, and fuel progress. Covering business, finance, technology, energy, and many more, SOUQ News provides a daily deep dive into the stories that matter, interviews with industry titans, and analysis that empowers your understanding of economic landscape. Join us daily as we dissect, discuss, and deliver the most relevant and factual news on business and the economy. SOUQ News is your trusted guide, empowering you with the knowledge to make informed decisions.